He is the smartest.
You didn't know there was a triplet? You didn't know there was a triplet?
Good concept, dude. No way.
Well, and I want to tell you something that I've always liked about Daniel. I always say the eyes are the window to the soul. I can see everything in your eyes.
It doesn't take you years to become a millionaire. I say it takes people years to decide that they're gonna be a fucking millionaire, and then 6 months they can do it.
If a salesman isn't really like 100% like sure of who he is or she is, you're done. You're smoked.
We were supposed to talk about objections, right?
Daniel G's live out here. We're in Scottsdale, Arizona.
For my audience that's watching, this is like, guys, like the Ellen DeGeneres show in the back that you guys can't see, but just for sales.
Right now, what we know is we know Daniel's out there building the greatest salespeople in the world. I watch a lot of your stuff. It says labeled one of the greatest sales trainers in the world. We built one of the fastest growing sales training companies in the world. We watch what you do. A lot of my guys watch your stuff. They love it. We love your energy. We love your fire. We love your drive. You know what we really love? You're obsessed, man.
Yeah.
We're in an era where people don't know how to speak. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to articulate their words. They're using old language. And then lastly, at the end of the day, I think training has become something that people are like, oh man, I'm past that.
It's not just even like the sales words. Like we were talking just before when one of the guys were like, oh, I seen one of your visualizing exercise. And when you tell salespeople this, like, oh, you know, visualize that you could be a millionaire, but like, teach me the words. And I'm like, no, you don't get it yet though. Like you can't outperform what's happening inside of your own head. You guys know that, right? So it's like you can never take opposite action of what your thoughts are inside of your own head. So it's like most people quit their sales day before they even freaking start. My formula to sales is this. It's like every salesperson has $100 million check waiting in like a safe. It's like me and you give them all the right freaking, you know, the words, this, but they don't understand the combo. And you can have all the right numbers, but without the combination, you can't unlock the safe with $100 million, right? So I'm like, people have to understand the combo. The combo to me is this. First, it's here. Like first, you got like what we were just talking about. You have to be obsessed. You have to stare at a chair, and when you look at that chair, you think of your next like multi-million-dollar rep sitting inside of that chair. And I said, if you don't look at a chair and you don't think of that, you're still not obsessed with the business. Some people have a reverse. They try to understand how to sell, but I'm like, you just don't get how people buy. Like if you just understood how people buy, sales becomes a lot easier. There's a lot of great salespeople that don't even know the scripts, but they just know the dance of sales.
That's right.
They don't know the scripts to the T, to the words, to the exact word, but they understand the dance. It can take them at least 50, 60% there. Like there's one person that comes in saying, I'm not buying shit today. So that's an objection. Somebody comes in, they're like, hey, by the way, I'm not buying, I want to check out the prices on the car or whatever. That's the first dance. That's like they come in with like shoulders up. I'm not buying shit from you today. Resistance, right?
Yeah.
Your job as a salesperson is not just like to understand the word tracks, it's to understand that their shoulders are up and saying, I'm not buying shit from you today. And the job is just to drop the shoulders. Yeah. By any means possible, you just know that they're resistant, they're defensive. And then there was another person, we were just talking to the car here. I said another dance that they'll play on you is saying like, oh yeah, you know, I'm ready to buy. Just show me exactly what you have to offer. I'm just ready to buy it. Happens every single day. And then right away you jump to it, you're like, all right, here you go. Let me send you out the checkout link. Then disappear, the person's gone. Why? I say it's another dance where a buyer over embellished it or hyped you up and then you fell into the trap. So there's always dances. If you know the dance, sales is easy.
Guys, if you just listen to what he just said and we're done and we turned it off, that right there will change your whole life. And by the way, the intensity, the way he talks, the way he speaks, you know, the way he articulates his words. I mean, whether he's right or wrong, the fact is he believes he's right, so I'm gonna buy what he has. You know, only the great know that it's not the product that you're selling, it's whether you believe in the product that you're selling. And people, they buy stuff they don't need all the time from people who believe. That's like step one, man, and I call that delusional belief. Like everybody can buy, came to buy, and will buy as long as I do my job. So if you so much as look at me, you're gonna buy something. That's just the game. I own the game. Once you understand the rules of the game, you own it. And that's why you own the game.
I have a question for you. Do you go into every sale being like, this is gonna be a buyer?
Yes.
Got it.
I walk into a room and I see everything's good. Some people walk into work and they'll see 10 things that are wrong. You know, I think perspective, I think getting a new set of lenses is the only way to make it to the top in sales. I see some objections coming up here, right? So I got one right here, like door to door, I got to talk to my wife.
If somebody says, well, I just need to talk to my wife about it, this is what's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna tell you, I need to speak to my spouse, right? You're gonna say, well, you know, what's your wife's name? Oh, my wife's name's Mary. Then you're gonna go in, you're gonna deal with the objection. Hey, by the way, you know, when's a good time for you, Mary? Sit down, however you wanna deal with it. Then they're gonna say, no, but I'm just not interested right now. Really, I'm just not interested. And they're gonna be closing the door on you. And I'm telling my guys this in the morning at 15. I'm like, they're gonna say, no, thank you, I'm not interested. You're gonna be like, hey, listen, completely understand. I'm only knocking because I don't even know if we'd be able to perform the service with you. And then you're gonna do a pullback, whatever you're trained to do. So I'm training them on that, how to deal with the no, I'm not interested. Then they're gonna start getting a little bit annoyed and they're like, listen, I really don't wanna do it. I'm being nice to you because you're 16 years old. And they're gonna start closing the door. I'm like, you're gonna get 5 inches. Because I said fortune is not in the follow-up. I said fortune is the amount of times that you attempt. I said you're probably gonna get about 5 inches left of their eyesight. I said, this is where all the money's made, with the knee pads. And they'd be like, well, what the heck do you mean? I said, so when the door shuts, I'm like, this is what most weak ass people do inside of life. They're like, all right, man, have a good day. I'm like, so you're 2 to 3, you're weak, right? I'm like, this is my analogy. And I made this up at 50. I'm like, they're gonna shut the door. You're gonna do like a 30-degree turn. You're gonna be like this. And you're just gonna take your foot and be like, man, 1 second. And they're gonna slam the door on your foot. And I'm like, that's where the knee pads come in inside of sales. I'm like, you don't need them physically. I said that you need them inside of your head.
Yeah.
I said, you don't wear the shin pads physically. And I would start teaching that. And I said, that turnaround is where everybody's money's made inside of sales. That turnaround. It was an analogy. I'm using like a parallel analogy right now. I'm like, the turnaround is where I was telling all those kids, I'm like, that's where all my money was made. I said, everybody here closes about 2 to 3 deals a day. I close 25 deals a day. I'm like, I close 25 deals a day because I got those shin pads on me. I'm like, I don't stop until the door's shut and they're calling the cops on me. And even when the cops come, I'm like, dude, I'm even building a relationship with the cops. Why? Because they got a home inside of the neighborhood. So we could still service them. But what do you do when the door shuts on you and they say, no, I'm really not interested? I'm like, dude, go for it one more time. Hold out your iPad. Go for the objection one more time and say, hey, you know what? Listen, I know you're not buying today. I completely understand. I just started the job about 6 months ago. I work closely with my research and development team. I just want to better understand. I can't just tell them you weren't interested today or they'll actually fire me, Andy. I just want to better understand the exact reason as to why you guys don't want the home services that Barbara and Carl got across the street, just so I can write it down. We put it in our files so we can bring it back to research and development. So when they want to make the products a little bit better, we have the most perfect product just based off customer research inside of the neighborhood. What was the exact reason why you don't want to onboard our services today? Just so I could put it in an email for my research and development team. So next time we come back, we don't annoy you, and I'll just also take you off the list. What was the exact reason? Yeah, honestly, my husband actually does these. Oh, I'm back in. The objection just moved from them slamming the foot to just, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different ways, and I think every objection has layers. Like, it's just not one. You just keep going with the objection, right?
Yeah, and you said something, I think some people may miss this. You said whoever can stay in the conversation the longest. That's it, man.
Yeah.
And so many people give up too early. I don't think that anybody should sell anything they don't believe in. And so if you were selling somebody solar, hypothetically, right? We all agree that inflation is real, right? And I think every customer out there in the world agrees with it, that it's real.
Yep.
We all agree in the next 12 to 18 months, utility bills could double or triple, right? And if they did, the current utility company, they could charge them whatever they want and they had to pay it, or else they would have to run their house off candles and turn their energy off. And nobody's gonna turn their energy off, or 100% of the people at every door will use energy all the days of their life. They're never going to stop using energy and going back to not using electricity. So at the end of the day, if we told somebody that there was a secondary energy option, and I like using things like this, I don't want to sell you solar. I just want to ask you a question. You know, if you're going to use all the energy all the days of your life, right? If the energy bills were to double or triple, you'd have to pay them, or else they'd turn your energy off and you'd run your house off candles, or you would just have to pay the inflation. If you could beat inflation and save money, what would that be worth to you? Everything, right? So if there's a secondary energy option in which you'd qualify for, would you want to know about it?
Sure.
And so I always say, like, if there was something that you would qualify for, if it was a secondary energy option, or if it was, you know, pest control, right? Like, whatever you're in, if people can just pick up some different language, that language is different than the normal person in this world. You sound different, man.
Right.
If you sound like you're cool, if you sound like you can have a conversation with me, if you sound like you're somebody that I want to look up to, if you sound like somebody that I wish was my friend, I'm going to stay in this game longer with you anyways. And so I think that 99% of the sales world out there has been training on the same crap for so long that they all sound the same. And in all these industries, a guy like you comes in and you're like, bam! And everybody's like, oh my God, I want to sound like that. But they won't change their language. Because every day you're studying the way that people speak, the way they talk, the way they articulate their words, the way they paint pictures, tell stories, sell ideas, sell situations, influence, persuade.
Yeah.
Like, you're studying everybody all day long. And every time you hear something that someone says, you probably write it down, right?
100%.
And not kind of like you heard it, but exactly the way you heard it. Because if it moved you, it'll move them. That's what I call like being a pro. And we just don't see this anymore. And I really think that if me and you could do anything, number one, we're showmen. We could be magicians and make people say, wow, but how do we change the world? I think if you're in sales.
I wanted to be a magician.
We are magicians.
Yeah, no, I grew up doing magic. Listen, man, I got into this, like, you know, the whole training thing. I wasn't supposed to do training. I just fell asleep when people were training. Like, I was always good at sales. Like, I was sales training since I was 14. Like, people, oh yeah, Daniel G, 5 years. No. I was training on objections. I just showed you guys. Like, I was training on objections since I was 14. Then I started to look at it, man. I had a company, I had an agency, so I was outsourcing salespeople to other coaches, right? So I'm sitting down in my office and I'm going on lives, but I'm not like I'm gonna be the sales trainer or anything. I'm just bantering on with people about sales. And then I'm looking at sales trainers before your crazy ass existed, right? And I'm looking at sales trainers and I'm like, man, they're fucking dead.
Dead.
So when I left my B2B sales company and I started to open up my business, my agency, I'm starting to look at all the trainers because I trained from everybody when I was young, you know, just like you. Trained Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins, Zig Ziglar, right? And then I'm looking like who's around now. So I start, because I always want to stay relevant like you. So I'm on YouTube and I just started to watch all these sales trainers and I'm head bobbing. Andy, I'm like this. I'm like, fuck, these people are dead. So I almost like had to do it because people were dying inside of sales. And I said, this is so boring. Again, I was never supposed to get into training and coaching, but I was doing live streams. People would come ask me, you know, you build a brand. People, can you come speak on this stage? I'm like, let's go do it. I do stages for free. I didn't charge people to go speak. I'm like, yeah, it's fun. I have a company. It's making me money. So I had an agency which was producing my money. So I'm like, all right, let's go speak. One day I'm in Las Vegas, Palms Hotel. Steve's there. He's been with me for 7 years now. Steve's there, Palms Hotel. There's a guy training sales on stage, probably 2017, 2018. And I'm looking, I'm like, you know what I'm going to do just for fun? I told Steve, I'm like, I'm going to say the exact same shit. Like I could have said different stuff that I wanted to say. I'm like, I'm just going to repeat his whole opening line for 5 minutes. And you go watch the footage, how much different it was. I just said the same shit he said. He was a sales trainer. Mm-hmm. Just like you said in the beginning of the conversation. I'm like, watch how they wake up, just saying the exact same things, just delivered in a different manner. And that's what it was. That's how I started sales training. That's why I said I was in magic. I'm like, man, people just have to wake up. Follow up next week some other time on a cold call. Hey, by the way, you know, what's the best email to reach you at to follow up with you? It's jeremy@123@gmail.com. Hey, Jeremy, let me follow up. I don't think a week will work, but let's just push it out for 2 weeks. Okay, because pause, by the way, and I can go with this in 3 different manners. I'm just going the easy one to sell you the exit, right? I love selling people the exit, because if I sell you the exit, I can always pull you back in inside of sales. So if you say, oh, by the way, just give me a week, I'll be like, hey, you know what? Let's just take 2 weeks, because next week I'm in Arizona with Andy Elliott. So let me just take 2 weeks. That way, when you're thinking about something like this, because you're probably on the fence about something like this, at least you have 2 weeks to think about it and not a week to think about it. So now I'm really giving them, because the art of sales is to give them a welcome on the conversation from the cold call, but also know that they're not trapped in a 4-walled environment, like they can't leave.
Yeah.
So if a buyer feels claustrophobic and they feel pushed back to the wall, I can't get them to drop.
Never.
And I know the immediate time when somebody says, I'm not interested right now, or that's a defensive person. So I'm just trying to get them to drop before I even have a conversation with them. So I'm like, yeah, take your time to think about it. Take even 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Hey, by the way, next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern work best. I'm going to follow up with you. Yeah, that works fine, Daniel. Perfect. And inside of an email right now, I'm just going to have my assistant fire off an email to you. I don't have an assistant. It's my first day working for Andy, let's just say. Just so my assistant puts the right things inside of the email to follow up with you based on what you were skeptical on today's conversation. What were you still a bit skeptical about? Was it the products that we were actually going to deliver to you? Was it the service that you were going to make money on? Or was it the return on investment? I just want to better understand so I can put it inside of an email. So when you're actually looking at the information, you're making an informed and educated decision. Because if I follow up with you in 2 weeks and you're still skeptical and hesitant, you'll go spend the money on tequila and not on trading, right? So I want to make sure that you're actually certain before you buy from us or buy from somebody else. What were you still hesitant and skeptical about today? Oh, you know, it was just a little bit about, you know, I bought somebody else, objection moved. Just because I gave you the exit to leave, I could pull you back in and get the truth. So my job is always just to get to the core of the problem.
It's a magic trick.
It is. I'm letting you leave the door. Because that, again, in my head, I'm a visualizer. So I think when somebody says, no, thank you, I'm not interested, there's one salesperson that's thinking like, oh shit, I can't crank out this deal. I think of it differently. I think of the prospect like walking away from you. Because I'm visualizing a scenario inside of my head. When I talk, I make them visualize, oh, my assistant's gonna put this down in front of my desk. Oh, this guy has an assistant? Like your commissions don't back up who you are. You back up your rank and your commissions. They don't know how much you make every single month. You gotta dictate that up based off your language and your energy. So I create this movie inside of my head. I'm like, okay, they're leaving, let them leave. Highest form of control inside of sales. Make the customer feel like they're in freaking control, but you're driving it. And that comes from no ego. Like, you know, you're playing the scenario. Most salespeople can't do that. Most salespeople are like, no, but like, what do you mean you're not interested? That's exactly why I'm calling you right now. Whoa, just give it to him. Watch how I play it. I'm gonna get the guy so close to me to come back to give me the next objection. Because I don't believe, by the way, I don't ever believe. And I just watched your video on this like 30 seconds ago when it's like, not the price, the time, the money. It's none of that. I believe there's something deeper than that, than it's just price. Because if they knew it was gonna make them back 10 times more, they wouldn't tell you the price. So maybe it's the salesperson's fault, by the way.
There's something that I like to say is, you know, the only reason why somebody doesn't make a decision, just so everybody knows, is because they can't see what's on the other side of the decision. If I can't see it, I won't make it. And so our job, honestly, as salespeople, is to paint pictures constantly. I mean, listen, look, Daniel, if I showed you right now what your life looked like in 6 months from now, this coaching program you got right now, that's cool, I'm glad you bought it. But if your life doesn't change, it doesn't mean nothing. Am I right? Would you agree?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, right now, if I could show you, and you didn't buy it yet, but if I could show you, God allowed me to show you on my camera, on my phone, what your life looked like on the other side of the decision that you're about to make. If I could show you, and you saw the bank account where you wanted, the physical condition where you're at, the relationships in your life going through the roof, the belief that was in yourself like no other, and you saw the team producing like no other, you saw these promotions, that handshake you always wanted, right? The girl you didn't get, all these things happen. You're literally 5Xing your money. If you could see that happen, right? This would be a no-brainer to make that decision. Wouldn't you agree?
Correct.
That's why you'll make it. Listen, the only people who make it in life are the people that bet on themselves. And so you got to decide right now, are you that guy that bets on himself or the guy that isn't? The guy that isn't doesn't make it. That's it, man. I'm just telling you from someone who's made it, from someone who's going big, someone who's going somewhere. Like, you either do or you don't. You sit on the fence, you're done. You get beat. That's the way life works.
For the guys watching right now, you guys don't know Andy's so good that you don't know he's in role play right now. They're probably watching and be like, yo, Andy's lecturing Daniel right now.
No, we're just having fun.
No.
Yeah.
But that's the point. The lesson, what I'm trying to show people that are watching live right now, this is how it should be, where people can't even differentiate. Like, sometimes I'll be role playing like in the crowd and they think like, I'm like, guys, I'm still in role play. I want you guys to know, but we've done it.
Yeah, they're taking it personal.
Yeah, but I'm like, we've done it just so many times that like, you know, you're in it now. Like, that's the whole point. Like, they got to feel part of it. So the people watching this right now, I'm like, you're so good at it because you did it so many times that it's real inside of your head and now becomes real to other people. They're like, because the people probably that just tuned on like 3 seconds ago, they're like, Andy's closing Daniel G on Andy Elliott's product.
Yeah.
But that's the point of role play. That's the point of it. It's just second nature.
Yeah.
You get them involved in the movie.
And by the way, even if you're on the phone, your eyes still count. They can see it, they can smell it, they can tell if you're standing up, selling, killing it, crushing it, or sitting down, having the worst day of your life.
Yeah, it's like Scarface. He says it's in the eyes, Chicos. He's like, it's in the eyes. And I always say that to people. I'm like, oh, you don't got it in your eyes. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, like, people buy these before they buy this.
Yes.
I said, people buy this. I'm like, I could see, even when somebody makes $20,000 in a month, I could see their eyes either change positively or negatively.
Yes.
Like, I could see when somebody's like, oh, now it's game on. It was a sign that it worked. Those are the crazy eyes. Like to me, sales is different. When one of my guys go to crank out a deal, one of my ladies go to crank out a deal, I'm like, listen, you think it's commission, but I see it differently. I see it as a sign that whatever you did worked. So every sale is just a sign that whatever you did in the past actually worked. And when you think of it like that, your eyes get a little bit crazier. Your eyes get a little bit crazier. Your eyes get a little bit crazier. So when people look at me and they're like, man, this guy's on coke, he's on drugs, whatever the case is, I'm like, no, you don't get how many signs I've compounded inside of my head that this shit works out, that now you see me on social media and my eyes are fucking crazy. And I said, people buy these. I've never done drugs a day in my life, by the way.
Yeah.
Smoked weed in high school. That's the most I've ever done.
Yeah.
Never done cocaine, none of that. And I'm just like, it's such that you can't compound the signs that whatever you did in the past worked. And by the way, everybody's a winner. I've grown up my whole life, again, personal development, and I've seen like, okay, if you wanna, if you set a goal, double your goal. And then I heard another guy saying 5x your goal. And then I heard another guy say 10x your goal. And then I question everything I hear sometimes. I said, okay, I like that, but I said, how about if somebody made $1,000 in one day? And I go up to that individual, right? Like, who here has made $10,000 in one day in commissions? Shit, that's 90% of the room. You guys need a job with Andy. That's 90%. Okay, that's 90% of the room. Now watch this. How many of you guys make $300,000 a month though? There you go. That's point proven right there. So watch what I just said there. I said, how many of you guys make $10,000 a month inside commissions? If I said the exact same question to a larger crowd and I said, how many people make $500 a day in commissions? Most people's hands would go up. 90% of people's hands would go up. And if I said, by the way, forget commissions, how many people make $500 from babysitting and sales and doing whatever? I don't care what you sell, bro, even if it's weed. How many of you guys have made $500 just in one day, cash collected? Most people's hands would go up and they'd be like, yeah, I made $500. I said, good. How many people here make $15,000 a month for 12 months straight? Most hands go down. And I say, exactly. Because you failed to identify that day where you made $500 should not be an anomaly. That should be the new standard repeated by 30. But somewhere inside of your head said, no, that's rare. So you don't go repeat it again. I say the way you set goals is your best day repeated by 30, nothing under. That's the way I repeat goals. So when you have a $50,000 day, you're fucked. Because that means now your new, your new 10-day goal is $500,000. So I take my best and I repeat it by 30. I don't double my goal, I don't triple my goal. I fall nothing under, but then the top that I just hit. That's actually truly how you set goals. So when I was going back to like saying you set a standard inside of your business or like, your $10,000, your $20,000, I think, most people, like we said in the beginning of this, they can never outperform what they think they can become inside of the future.
Facts.
So it's like, because you made $10,000 in one day and you don't truly believe that you're worth a $300,000 a month, you take the $10,000 commission check and you go blow it on a Mercedes. But the person that thinks they're worth a $300,000 a month says, it finally worked, let me repeat this again tomorrow. That person thinks they're worth a $300,000 a month.
Yes.
You know what's interesting? Every action you have inside of sales is completely dependent based on what you feel like you can become inside of the future. So if you blow your $10,000 check, you don't believe you're worth a big company. You don't believe you're worth a big business. Like I could see people's future. Like if I came to work from you and you're making hundreds of millions of dollars, but I see none of this, I'm like, oh, he doesn't think he's gonna go to $1 billion company. Because your actions, the way you invest, not just the way you talk and walk, even the way you invest is a reflection of where you feel like you're heading inside of the future.
Huge.
So I'm with you today because me and you want fucking more.
Yeah.
So we said, it's like our actions right now, literally in the present moment, shows it's a reflection. I want people watching this right now. We achieved some pretty badass stuff in the last couple of years, but it just goes to show the eyes that we want more. So that's why you and I are sitting down together, or we wouldn't be doing this. But us sitting down in this room right now is a complete reflection that we know we can 100 times it in the next 24 months. So our actions are gonna speak it today.
We've never done anything with any other sales trainer. Any, and I mean any, when I say any, I mean zero, none, nada, zero. And they all ask, and we don't want to do it. We don't want to do nothing. We've been the black sheep. Dude, I'm in it for the underdogs. I've seen how you care about salespeople. I've seen how you talk about building your teams. I see how you snap into the leaders. I see how you care about this industry. Not just like in what specific industry, but sales in general. How if every single person would just understand that everything they're going to do their whole life is in sales, we could change the whole freaking world. Sales is your ministry. It really is, man. That's how you help change somebody's legacy and generation. Most people will sell their will to win for a lot of failure or for a little bit of success. And you ain't sold out to nobody.
No.
A lot of people, they didn't get to start in sales like you early right now, but they're 59 and their life's not over. And just spending a couple minutes with you, dude, you make them feel on fire again. And if they can just, learn a little bit of skill, get into a right organization, man, they can change their whole life. They can turn their whole life around right now. No one is stuck. Like no one out there in this world is stuck. Anyone and everyone right now could go make $50,000 a month.
Easily.
The question is do you want it? Because you can't make people hungry. And as we talk to everybody out there, I want to say this to you, no matter how great of a trainer you get, no matter who wants you to have it, if you don't want it, you can't get it.
You know the average income in America, anybody watching this, I hope some people get triggered by this, but the average income in America, what is it, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000? Let's just throw it at $4,000 a month. The average income in America is a complete reflection from the average thoughts that people think. And if you don't believe me, just go watch the way people talk to each other. Like I believe, like all the money you make, all the sales you make is completely predicated off energy. That's why me and you vibe out with each other. Go inside of an airport, and if I just go in an airport right now, and we're in airports every single day, and I tune off this crazy mind of mine because everything's so optimistic. We're on phone calls, I'm in the airport cranking out deals. Like I'm just in this zone. So one day, bro, I'm like, yo, let me just watch people let me watch the average person just walking by life right now, like robots talking. I want to see how these people talk because I live in a weird space. I live where everybody wants to make money with a bunch of maniacs because I train at events every single day. Let's get out of this. Like I had to force myself to get out of this bubble, which was weird. So I'm watching everybody. I'm like, okay, I go through the customs. One girl's like, hey, by the way, I don't want to take off my shoes. She's arguing. Next person goes through. Watch. I'm gonna keep going. Next person goes through. One girl's talking shit about her other friend that's working at a store. They're shit talking behind somebody else's back. They're in grudge and jealousy from somebody. I'm like, and I'm looking at all these words that come out of people's mouths, right? One person's arguing about a relationship. And I'm like, wow, everything that's going through these people's mouths right now is just a reflection of what's happening inside of their mind. We know that, right? So if somebody's talking shit about somebody, they got grudge inside of their mind. If you go look at the frequency scale, at the bottom of it is always grudge, anger, jealousy. And even if somebody's not, I'm not saying to be spiritual, I'm just saying like, think of the people that aren't energetic. They're usually grudge, jealousy, hate, anger. They're all there. And I said, isn't it interesting that the average language, which is the average thought, which is the average energy, is completely related to the average income? Does somebody get that or no?
Yeah, hell
like
yeah.
The average thought, the average energy frequency is completely related to the average income. $4,000 a month, that person speaks the same, they think the same, they operate at the same frequency. Now the question becomes this: Daniel, I want to make $50,000 a month inside of sales. Okay, good. Me and Andy are going to put together some crazy ass shit. We're going to show you exactly how to do it. We're going to give it to you, and the person still doesn't hit it. Because not what you have to do to make an extra $50,000 first. It's who do you have to become to get such high at this frequency to even get yourself to a point where you're operating out of service.
That's right.
To be just at a logical point, 10 times at a better frequency than the average individual. Because you want it to make $50,000 a month, good. The average individual makes 5,000. How are your thoughts 10 times more pure than them, 10 times higher than them? I want to see that before I even teach you sales. Because you're going to try to learn the sales game, but you're still operating right here. You're going to learn the sales game. I'm going to give you the script and you're going to be like, man, this thing doesn't work out. Yeah, misalignment right now. So I think everything comes from alignment.
If you look at any company, and I don't care who it is, any company, best companies, worst companies, anything, the year-to-dates always run with the energy frequency. I think there's a lot of people about to step up right now. I really do, man. I think there's a lot of people that are sick of where they're at. I think there's a lot of people that, you know, they just need a play to run. Just give me a play to run, man. And I'm telling you, the play is sales and leadership will get you rich. Who you become determines what you'll get.
But the only way to reach the top, by the way, it's like, I want to be in proximity with guys like you. And the way to get in proximity with the A players, because by the way, anybody can fake the C players. This is something I tell all my team around me. I'm like, let those guys fake all the C players. But the moment they come to us and we just smell them, we're like, yeah, you're not about it. We don't collaborate. You can't fake the A players.
Yeah.
If you're not truly, you know, you didn't actually make the money, you don't actually have a business, you can fake all the C and B players that you want. But the moment it comes time to compound the collaboration, that's a hard game to fake because the A players will smell it out. It doesn't take you years to become a millionaire. I say it takes people years to decide that they're gonna be a fucking millionaire, and then 6 months they can do it. But it just takes so long to get to like one split decision.
Yeah, they say when your decision-making time shortens, your success just increases.
I think that's what we're truly here for.
Yeah.
Like, to get people to a decision, to make a decision faster.
I love it, man. You're the best.
This was
Thank
awesome.
you for
Well,
being
thank
here.
you guys for having me, bro. Seriously,
Yeah,
really. Thank you guys for having me. Really, thank you guys.
Dude, that was great, dude. Seriously.
That was fun, man. These people are gonna love it. People are watching.
Oh yeah, dude, I told you, bro.
I said when you message me, I'm like, dude, we're gonna have a good friendship.
Yeah, dude, and that's what we live for. We call it the brotherhood.
Yeah.
I mean, we live for a brotherhood, man. Like, it's everything, guys. Like, it's priceless.